I still remember the day it all began, the day my life shifted in a way I could never have imagined. It wasn't dramatic at first. There were no explosions, no warnings, just a subtle, almost playful comment from my dad that lodged itself in my mind like a splinter I couldn't remove. "You know," he said one evening, smiling as he helped me straighten my shirt, "sometimes I feel like I have a second daughter, and it's you." At first, I laughed it off. I thought he was joking. Dad had always teased me in weird, random ways, but the way he said it, with warmth, softness, and a glint in his eye, it felt different. It lingered, like a whisper curling around my thoughts long after the words left his mouth. I couldn't shake the feeling. That night, I went to my room, closed the door, and stared at myself in the mirror. And that's when it hit me, the realization, the spark, the shiver that runs down your spine when something inside you quietly shifts. I leaned closer, touching my jawline, tracing my fingers along my cheekbones, imagining, what if I let myself explore this side of me? This part of me that my dad had, in his strange, loving way, already seen. The idea terrified me. And yet, a part of me, deep, hidden, almost shy, felt an electric thrill. What would it be like to become her? The next few days were a blur of awkwardness and curiosity. I went to school, to work, to my routine, but everything felt slightly off. My dad's words echoed in my mind, like a gentle taunt. I caught myself in mirrors, watching, imagining, wondering. My usual hoodies and baggy jeans suddenly felt like disguises, hiding something I didn't fully understand yet. At school, I noticed people looking at me differently. Not in judgment, exactly, but in a way that made me hyper-aware. I could feel the weight of every glance, every whispered comment. I avoided eye contact, tugged my sleeves over my hands, and yet, the more I tried to bury the thought, the stronger it grew. One evening, my friend Jess called me out. "You've been different lately," she said, squinting at me across the cafeteria table. "You're quieter, more. I don't know, soft." Her words sent a jolt through me. Soft. That's what Dad had meant too, wasn't it? That soft, vulnerable, girl-like quality he teased me about. I laughed nervously, hiding the flush creeping up my neck. "Yeah, just tired, I guess." But it wasn't just tiredness. It was curiosity, and embarrassment, and fear all wrapped into one. Fear that I'd never be able to return to the person I was before. Fear that maybe, deep down, I didn't want to. I started experimenting in secret. My first attempts were timid, just trying on my sister's old tops, a few necklaces, brushing my hair differently, even practicing a lighter voice when I was alone. I remember the first time I looked in the mirror wearing her floral dress. My heart raced. My hands shook. And then, almost imperceptibly, a smile curved across my face. I didn't just look different, I felt different. It was intoxicating. I started small, painting my nails when no one was home, trying on lipstick, practicing subtle expressions. The first time I applied mascara and looked in the mirror, wow. I didn't just see myself. I saw her. The girl I'd always wanted to explore, the side of me I'd kept hidden for years. And the more I experimented, the more I noticed changes, tiny shifts in how I carried myself, the sway of my hips, the tilt of my head. Even my voice began to soften naturally, catching in ways that made me giggle quietly at night. I was discovering something I didn't know I needed, something my dad had sensed long before I did. Weekends became a time of discovery. I'd sneak out in subtle, casual ways, shopping for clothes, testing out outfits in dressing rooms, watching my reflection with awe. I began to understand the power of presentation, the thrill of seeing someone glance at me in passing and wonder who I was. I remember the first time I went to a cafe dressed fully as her. Heart pounding, palms sweaty, I ordered coffee and sat down, hands folded neatly in my lap. And something incredible happened. The barista smiled at me in a way that wasn't just polite, it was intrigued, friendly. I felt a spark of confidence, a rush of validation I'd never experienced before. It wasn't perfect. I stumbled over words, felt the occasional heat of embarrassment, and worried someone I knew would see me. But I also felt alive in a way that my old life had never offered. I laughed more freely, walked with a newfound grace, and most importantly, began to believe that I could be both, my old self and this new self. But, of course, real life doesn't stay a secret forever. One afternoon, my dad came home unexpectedly while I was trying on a new outfit, a sleek skirt, soft blouse, heels that made my legs look impossibly long. I froze, panic flooding through me. My first instinct was to cover up, run, hide, but then I heard him. He didn't gasp. He didn't scold. He didn't say a word. He simply smiled, the same warm, gentle smile from months ago. "Wow," he said softly, stepping closer. "You look beautiful." My heart stopped. "Dad." I stammered, cheeks burning red, afraid of his reaction. He shook his head. "No, listen. I've known this side of you for a while now. And I love it. I love you." Something inside me cracked open, years of fear, shame, confusion, all melting away. I wanted to collapse, to laugh, to cry. And, in that moment, I felt something I hadn't felt before: acceptance. True, unconditional acceptance. Encouraged by him, I began exploring more openly. I went to parties, met new friends, joined online communities. Each outing was a mixture of thrill and terror. What if someone recognized me? What if I couldn't handle stares? But each experience built me up, layer by layer. I remember walking into a small gathering one evening, dressed fully as her, heels clicking softly against the floor. A stranger complimented me, calling me elegant, graceful. My stomach flipped. My pulse raced. And yet, I held my head high, smiled, and for the first time, believed it. Believed that I belonged here. That I could exist in this body, in this persona, and be loved for it. The real test came when my workplace began to notice subtle changes. My co-workers, initially confused by my new appearance and mannerisms, started asking questions. Rumors fluttered, whispers followed me down hallways. And in one meeting, my boss finally called me out. "You look different today. Is everything okay?" I froze, feeling the familiar knot of panic. Should I hide? Pretend I was someone else? But then I thought of my dad, his smile, his encouragement, the way he had always seen me more completely than anyone else. And I made a choice. "Yes," I said, voice steady, heart racing. "Everything's more than okay. I'm me. Fully me." The room fell silent for a moment, then a few colleagues nodded, others glanced away. And slowly, ever so slowly, acceptance grew. Not everyone understood. Not everyone approved. But I had chosen authenticity over fear, and that felt better than any approval I could have chased before. Now, months later, life feels richer, fuller, and somehow lighter. I walk differently, laugh differently, and even interact with my dad in a way that's playful, tender, and profoundly intimate. We joke, we shop together, we try on outfits and laugh at our own reflections. And every time he looks at me and calls me his second daughter, I feel a warmth deep inside, a recognition that transcends words. I've learned that transformation isn't just about clothing, makeup, or appearances. It's about courage. About vulnerability. About the willingness to explore parts of yourself that are frightening yet exhilarating. And it's about love. The love that accepts you wholly, the love that allows you to flourish, the love that whispers, even in a simple sentence, that you are enough. Reflecting now, I realize that what I feared most, rejection, shame, isolation, was never the real enemy. The real challenge was facing myself, embracing the parts of me I'd hidden, and daring to live openly. To anyone watching who's ever felt the pull of a hidden identity, a secret curiosity, or a quiet yearning to be someone more, I want you to know, it's okay. It's beautiful. And it's worth exploring. Because in the end, transformation isn't just about who others see, it's about who you finally allow yourself to be. And for me, hearing my dad call me his second daughter, it wasn't just a title. It was a gift. A key. A mirror reflecting the truest version of myself. And for the first time in my life, I smiled at that reflection and said, quietly, softly, joyfully, I'm finally me. Even after I had embraced my new self, life wasn't suddenly perfect. If anything, it became more real. Because now that I was stepping into this identity fully, every little interaction, every glance, every word from someone else carried weight. Every day became a mixture of exhilaration, anxiety, and self-discovery. It started with small moments, walking down the street in heels, feeling the pavement differently beneath my feet, the sway of my hips unfamiliar but thrilling. I'd catch reflections in shop windows, and sometimes, just for a split second, I didn't recognize myself. Not because I didn't know this person, but because I was becoming her, step by trembling step. One evening, my dad and I went shopping together. The air in the store was warm, the smell of perfume and fabric soft and intoxicating. He nudged me gently, pointing toward a dress. "Try that one. It would look amazing on you." I laughed nervously, holding it up, imagining the reflection. "I don't know, Dad, maybe it's too much." He smiled, patient, unwavering. "Too much is exactly what you need sometimes. Let her breathe. Let her exist." And so I tried it on. The mirror reflected someone entirely new. Soft curves, delicate fabric hugging my shoulders, a neckline that framed my collarbone just right. I twirled slightly, heart hammering. And when I looked at my dad, his eyes glimmered with pride. Not pity. Not mockery. Pride. And in that moment, I realized something crucial. Acceptance starts with one person, but it grows when you see it in yourself. School and work were different now, more complex. Some classmates and colleagues were supportive, a few whispered behind my back, and others stared with that curious, cautious mix of admiration and confusion. I learned to navigate it, to carry myself with a quiet confidence that demanded respect, even when my knees shook inside. One day at work, my supervisor, who had always been skeptical, stopped me in the hallway. You really look different," she said, frowning slightly. "But I have to admit, I like it. You seem more yourself." Her words caught me off guard. I smiled, hesitant, heart fluttering. "Thank you. I think I finally am, actually." It was a small victory, but a victory nonetheless. Every approving glance, every kind word, every subtle acknowledgement from strangers or friends became a thread weaving a safety net around me, allowing me to move further, explore more boldly, and embrace more fully. The weekends became sacred. They were my playgrounds for experimentation and self-expression. One Friday evening, I decided to attend a local drag show. My heart raced as I put on my outfit, a sleek, form-fitting dress, carefully applied makeup highlighting my best features, hair cascading perfectly over my shoulders. I looked in the mirror, tracing my lips lightly with my finger. "Wow," I whispered to myself. "You're really doing this." The show was a revelation. I watched performers command the stage with poise, confidence, and unapologetic self-love. Every movement, every smile, every flourish ignited something inside me. I didn't just want to watch, I wanted to become. I wanted to feel that power, that presence, that freedom. When I finally stepped outside afterward, the cool night air brushing against my skin, I felt alive in a way I had never known. My dad had always seen me this way, but now I was seeing myself. Fully. Unreservedly. And it was exhilarating. But with exploration came confrontation. One afternoon, my younger brother caught me trying on a new outfit, a soft, flowing blouse paired with a skirt that fell just above my knees. He froze, eyes wide, and then, laughter. Not cruel, but incredulous. "Wait, is this you?" he asked, barely holding back a chuckle. I froze, cheeks burning, heart pounding. "Yeah. It's me. Just, experimenting." He laughed again, shaking his head. "I don't get it. But, you look, okay, actually. Weird, but okay." His words stung and soothed at the same time. Weird, but okay. That phrase echoed in my mind. Not everyone would understand me, not everyone would accept me, but as long as I found the people who could, maybe that was enough. Encouraged, I started venturing further. Coffee shops, bookstores, even a small local convention, each outing a mixture of fear and exhilaration. I practiced my voice, my gestures, even the way I laughed. Each step outside my comfort zone was terrifying, yet liberating. People stared sometimes, yes, but sometimes they smiled. Sometimes they complimented me. And each interaction built confidence like bricks in a wall, slowly constructing a fortress of self-assurance. One particularly memorable day, a stranger complimented my outfit. "You have such elegance," she said, her eyes sparkling with genuine admiration. I felt my chest tighten with joy, warmth flooding through me. My dad's words whispered in my mind, "Let her exist." And I realized, truly realized, that this wasn't just about clothes or makeup, it was about authenticity. About being seen, being heard, and being loved for who I truly was. The real challenge, however, came when a coworker, someone I respected and feared judgment from, finally confronted me in private. "I don't want to sound rude," he began, shifting awkwardly, "but this is a big change. Are you okay?" I took a deep breath, feeling the old fear creeping in. But then I remembered my dad, my brother, the drag shows, the quiet victories, the warm smiles from strangers, the sense of liberation pulsing through me. And I smiled, steady, confident. "I'm more than okay," I said. "I'm finally me." The tension in the room eased. A small nod of understanding. No grand applause, no dramatic acceptance, but that was enough. The choice to live authentically didn't need everyone's approval. It only needed me. Even my relationship with my dad evolved in beautiful ways. We spent more time together, exploring clothes, makeup, and shopping trips. We experimented with hairstyles, laughter echoing through the rooms, teasing and playful moments strengthening our bond. He wasn't just my dad anymore, he was a guide, a supporter, and a partner in this journey of self-discovery. One evening, as we tried on a particularly extravagant dress, he twirled me in front of the mirror. "You see yourself, don't you?" he said softly, eyes glistening. "You finally see her. And she's beautiful." Tears welled up, and I nodded, voice catching. "I see her, because of you. And I finally love her." Reflecting now, months into this journey, I realize transformation isn't a single moment, it's continuous. It's the small victories, the whispered compliments, the stolen glimpses in mirrors, the laughter, the stumbles, the courage to keep going despite fear. I've learned that authenticity doesn't mean perfection. It means daring to exist in the world as your truest self, even when it's scary, even when it's messy. It means finding those who love you, who see you, who support you, and building a life around that love. To anyone watching who feels a similar pull, a curiosity, or a quiet desire to explore a hidden side of themselves, you are not alone. You are valid. You are beautiful. You are allowed to exist in your truth, to walk through the world fully, confidently, unapologetically. And as for me, every time my dad calls me his second daughter, I feel it all over again. The warmth, the pride, the unconditional love that makes every fear, every struggle, every awkward stumble along the way worth it. Because in the end, the most important relationship is the one you have with yourself. And now, finally, I can look in the mirror and say with certainty, I am loved. I am seen. I am whole.